Can you believe it's almost June and we still have major NFL rumors to cover? What's going on, football fans? Welcome in to NFL Daily by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and on today's show, Kyle Pitts garnering even more trade interest. We're going to figure out what the Atlanta Falcons plan to do with him, if they plan to do anything at all with him, and what they're asking for. And then I take a look at the rookie quarterbacks coming into 2025, and I'm going to predict when they get their starts. And spoilers, some of them not as early as you might think. Now, before we get started, look at this gigantic thumb. I need you to be just like this gigantic thumb. I need you to hit that thumbs up hit that thumbs up button and help us get to 200 likes on today's episode. I totally believe we can do it, brain fart and all. So make sure you hit that thumbs up button. God, I can't say it. And lock us in. It's been a long day for me. All right, on the trading block. Let's talk about Mr. Kyle Pitts here for a second. So reports have come out recently that Kyle Pitts is looking for a new contract extension, asking for some outlandish numbers. And the Atlanta Falcons are like, yeah, you're definitely not worth that. But we definitely want to keep you on the roster because we believe we're building something special here in Atlanta with, new quarterback Michael Penix. Here's the problem. They don't seem to be on the same page. In fact, CBS Sports was talking about this, and they linked Jordan Schultz to the Kyle Pitts trade rumor talk. So apparently this has some actual legs behind it. It says Kyle Pitts is looking for a new deal, and multiple teams have at least inquired about acquiring his services. According to Fox Sports Jordan Schultz, a few teams have reached out to the Atlanta Falcons regarding the availability of the tight end. The Falcons would prefer to keep Pitts on their roster, but it would, and this is the important part, likely take at least a day 2 pick in order to ignite trade discussions. We're going to deal with one thing at a time. So here's what we know. Pitts wants a new contract. The Falcons are open to receiving those calls, and they want a second-round pick. A day 2 pick literally just means a second-round pick, right, with the way the NFL draft is now slated. There might be some delusion on both sides here. First of all, Kyle Pitts is not worth nearly as much as he believes. And secondly, he's not worth a second-round pick. The Falcons are crazy, or at least bluffing, if they believe he's worth a second-round pick. Now, if you would have said 2 years ago you could get a second-round pick out of him, maybe, based off of the potential. But over the last couple of seasons, we have seen what Kyle Pitts is and what he is not. And what he is a very average tight end. Now, I know that 2021 season was his best in terms of yardage, but he only found the end zone one time. And over the last 3 seasons, you can't convince me that his best days are in front of him. I don't buy it for a second. In fact, what you're most likely going to get if you averaged everything out would be 50 receptions, 500 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Is that worthy of a second-round pick? Ask yourself that out loud. You'd be insane to think that. I would never, ever give up a day 2 pick for Kyle Pitts. But again, that's just me. But PFF actually came out and they graded all of the tight ends from 2024. Notice anything here? For a guy who was taken 4th overall, Kyle Pitts is in some really bad categories here. He's in some bad standings. Chig Okonkwo had a higher PFF grade than him. Now remember, PFF's not the Bible, right? We don't need to take this as the holy grail of, determining a player's worth. But it is a good indicator as to what they were able to provide on the field the season prior. So if you were to ask me, okay, well, Moose, you can't just talk about what you wouldn't give up for Kyle Pitts. What about what you would give up? Well, if any NFL team were to make a call and say, here's what we're going to offer you, if I'm the Falcons, I would accept this in a heartbeat. If a team offered me a 4th-round pick, sayonara, Kyle. I understand he's got the physical attributes that you're looking for in a tight end. And maybe the quarterback play hasn't been that great in Atlanta. But do you really think that you're looking at a player that's going to end up getting 75 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 8 touchdowns next season. I don't see it. This is what I believe that you could get from Kyle Pitts. A nice 4th-round pick, which, again, is not a bad trade compensation. There are plenty of really solid players that you could get in the 4th round. And with a much deeper draft class coming in 2026, that's exactly what I'd be eyeing if I'm the Atlanta Falcons. But like I said, they want to keep him on their roster. So I'll ask you, maybe you're not a Falcons fan, but that's fine. Maybe you're just a football fan. Would you trade Kyle Pitts if you're the Falcons? Be Terry Fontenot for just 1 second. Type yes or no in the comments down below for me. I'm saying yes, they should, but only if they're able to get good trade compensation. If they can't find anybody, tough shit, dude. Right at the last year of your rookie contract, and then hit the free agency market and find your next team. Before we continue on, I want to ask all NFL football fans to make sure that they gear up for the summer. I love to go golfing, and honestly, with some of the way these polos look, I'm thinking about ordering one myself. They are 60% off right now with our friends over at Fanatic, so I made it super simple for you. I took this link, put it in the comments and description of today's video. All you got to do is head on down there, click on that link, and start shopping today. You can get a Cowboys one, you get a Pats one, Raiders, and Giants, or your favorite NFL team, whatever one you decide to rep, do it with this link, like I said, that I put in the comments and description of today's video. Okay, enough on Kyle Pitts. Rookie quarterbacks getting their week 1 start. What does it look like? Well, I took the most notable rookie quarterbacks from this 2025 draft class, and I listed them out kind of where they were drafted, and I'm going to take a look at when their week 1 starts would potentially come. Let's start with the guy who was taken number 1 overall, Cam Ward. Obviously, then this is going to be the easiest one based off of not only his draft selection, but what we saw from him last year at Miami and what the Tennessee Titans think of him, which is franchise quarterback, right? This is what they believe of him. The truth is that Cam Ward's going to start week 1. And that's not a hot take. Like, who else are you going to roll out with? Will Levis? Like, let's be real here. It's going to be Cam Ward. And look, I think there's rookie growing pains, especially because outside of Jaden Daniels last year, almost every single rookie quarterback went through some version of this. Jaden Daniels seemed to be the only one that kind of, from week 1, started to pick up the game as quickly as he possibly could. And then by the end of the season, obviously, took his team to the NFC Championship game. So exclude Jaden Daniels out of this. I think Cam Ward not only starts week 1, but he's inducted into the fast pace of the NFL lifestyle immediately. Let's head on over to Jaxson Dart. Now, Jaxson Dart's an interesting prospect. I didn't have him as a first-round grade, but the Giants clearly saw something in him that they loved. Maybe it was last year at Ole Miss and the production that he put onto the field, which was pretty good. 32 touchdowns, 6 picks, over 4,000 yards passing in college. All those numbers scream really, really talented college football player. Does it necessarily translate, though, to the NFL game? It's hard to say. But with that being said, I think Jaxson Dart ends up starting in Week 15. Russell Wilson is going to ride out the majority of the season as your starting quarterback. Now, here's the real question. Does Brian Daboll keep his job if the Giants start off with a really bad record? If the answer is no, if they end up letting him go halfway through the year, you might see Dart start earlier rather than later. But if he does keep his job and the Giants are mediocre heading into the latter part of the NFL season, I could absolutely see him starting the final 3 weeks of the NFL season, or 4 weeks, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Kind of like what the Falcons did last year with Michael Penix. Moving on to that same division, let's talk about Tyler Shuck. I'm talking about the Falcons division. Tyler Shuck now, the second-round pick for the Saints at quarterback. Obviously, we didn't think Shuck was going to start week 1 pre 2 weeks ago before Derek Carr retired. Now Derek Carr is out of the mix, and Shuck now has a prime opportunity to start week 1. But let's take it back for a second, talk about his 2024 season. I didn't love what Tyler Shuck was in college. That's a 7-year starter, somebody that possessed okay traits, possessed okay numbers. It was fine. It wasn't anything that stood out. And if you're not standing out in college as a quarterback, odds are you're probably not going to stand out as an NFL quarterback. The game only gets more difficult. Now, obviously, without Derek Carr, I think Shuck starts week 1. Like, this to me has got the writing on the wall. What are they going to roll out? Spencer Rattler? I don't think so. Kellen Moore clearly had influence in drafting Tyler Shuck, and I think he wants to roll out as this new, rookie and head coach combo. So give me Shuck to get the start week 1. I think out of all of the ones that start in 2025, I think Shuck struggles the most. That's my prediction. But call me a Saints hater, if you will. I don't really hate the Saints, but, it's Shuck. Come on. All right, on to the last 2. Dillon Gabriel. Let's start with him. A lot of weird, rumors coming out of Browns camp right now. A lot of people have been reporting that he's been doing well in OTAs. A lot of people have said that Shedeur looks 10 times better. I'm in the camp of I don't think Dillon Gabriel has starting quarterback potential. I think this is a career backup player. And last year at Oregon, one of his best seasons as a college football quarterback. I mean, he's played for forever. He feels like, in terms of, amount of starts, he's an old man. But that's a good thing heading into the NFL, as many reps as you could possibly get. Now, the Browns quarterback room right now has Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, and Deshaun Watson sitting there trailing the end. Now, Deshaun's injury is not going to have him starting at all. I don't think Gabriel starts a single game in 2025. My prediction is Joe Flacco starts week 1. They head into about week 6 or week 7. The Browns' record isn't good. They sit Flacco. They start Shedeur, which we'll get into here in just a second. But when it comes to Dillon Gabriel, I don't see it happening. So I think he sits the bench all year. I don't think he makes a start. Let's go to our last guy, Shedeur. And again, I didn't even really allude to it. I just kind of told you what the deal was. I think Shedeur ends up coming in right around the midway point of the season. And last year, easily the best numbers out of any college quarterback. 41 total touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 4,100 yards. I'm a big fan of Shedeur's game, which is hyper accuracy. I think he's going to be a good NFL player. I really do. So week 7 is when I believe he comes in. I think the Browns start off 1-5 or 2-4, and they end up, shifting gears away from Flacco, who is 40, 41 years old, and they're going to ride with the kid. And there's going to be some issues, and there's going to be growing pains, but I think for the next at least year to year and a half, you're going to be seeing Shador Sanders' name as QB1 for the Cleveland Browns. Now, as we wrap up everything, there are some other quarterbacks of note that went, guys like Riley Leonard, and Will Howard obviously went to the Steelers. Kyle McCord, another one, but I don't think any of those guys are in consideration for starting even, year 1, let alone year 2. I think Aaron Rodgers has solidified that deal in Pittsburgh. But those are the main quarterbacks that I believe have the opportunity to start in 2025. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share this with an NFL fan in your life. My name is Moose. Until next time, be cool.